Hi, welcome to City Scene with Mayor Mike Cahill. I'm your host, Walt Kosmowski. And Your Honor, it's always great to have you here in the studio.
Well, it's been a while, thanks. It's wonderful to see you. It was good to see you at City Hall the other night, taking notes for today's
a marathon
conversation.
meeting, a marathon meeting. Well, we're gonna discuss, the discussion today will be about the new trash recycling collection system that's proposed by your office, that's just scheduled to go into effect July 1st. And we're going to try to do a quick overview here for our viewers, and then maybe we can dive down into the details. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, and I think we have some slides queued up in the control room that will illustrate some of your points. Oh, there you go.
Perfect. See, this is really two-part. It's the new program, what it'll look like, and then it's the how we're trying to pay for it. Right. So we can jump right in. Our trash contract ends on June 30th.
June 30th.
We have been 3 straight contracts with JRM, smaller family-owned business. They were bought out by Republic about 2.5, 3 years ago. And I will tell you that we went through a very exhaustive process over many months, and we've signed a contract with Casella to be our waste and recycling hauler starting this July 1. And as as you'll see in the next slides, we're going with a new program, an automated system. The industry has really been moving here for a while, and we learned all about this during the trash strike last summer. The replacement employees that Republic brought in from other parts of the country, they were all used to driving automated trucks. They didn't really know how to deal with, the equipment
I don't think we knew that. I don't think we knew that.
Massachusetts is really behind the curve on automated. But a number of surrounding communities whose contracts have come up in recent years have gone to automated. So the automated pickup will happen on most of our streets. There will be some very tight streets, particularly in the downtown, but a few around the community where it might not really be possible for the automated to work. What the trucks do is they go down one side of the street because the arm goes, I think it's left to right, and they pick up one side. And then if it's a dead-end street or a one-way street, they have to manage to, kind of back down the other side. Or if it's a two-way street, they just kind of go out and come back around and come through.
Right.
If somebody thinks that their neighborhood is just flat out too tight for this, let us know. We're working with Casella. Now that we signed the contract with them, they're spending time in the community trying to figure out where there might be streets that need a different treatment. And they do expect that they're going to have probably one day a week where they have a rear load truck for those specific neighborhoods. And they'll continue rear loading. But for most of the community, it'll be automated. And the reality is that cities and towns like ours and cities and towns that may be easier to work in all have been automated for a while. So this is just where the industry's headed.
Now let me ask you a question. The contract ending with Republic on June 30th, is the city's policy to look at all of these contracts and renew them or put them back out to bid on a regular basis? Is that part of city policy? Or was it sort of kind of a little feeling of discomfort because last summer was very chaotic when they were on strike and so forth?
So the trash contracts are not bound by state procurement laws, so you don't have to go out to bid. We didn't with the last contract, ultimately, because JRM was a company we knew well. And that was our 3rd straight contract with them, I believe. And so, I think we negotiated a really good contract with JRM. And I think in hindsight, that's even more reinforced because the new contract is going to cost significantly more. The recycling markets changed significantly a handful of years ago. First with China saying no more American recycling coming our way, and then with what is and is not bringing value in the market. So that's changed a lot, and so our recycling tonnage cost is doubling with this contract. Labor costs have increased greatly, not just with Republic, but with everybody who has signed new contracts in recent years. All the haulers in the region have seen labor costs go up significantly. This is our cost slide. This is important to recognize. We're kind of jumping ahead with the slides because we're all doing this on the fly here. The $1.2 million that the $100 trash fee brings in covers about 32, 33% of the total cost of our trash recycling program. And the rest it used to cover more, but it's covering less. And with the new contract, it'll cover even less. So we have recognized a need to increase the trash fee. Nobody wants it. I don't want to pay more. You probably don't.
So
but
it'll be a self-supporting,
the proposal that we've made to the city council, and this is what's in process, right? The changes in the program are set. We signed the contract. We're getting ready for July 1. How to pay for it is in process. We proposed trash fees that would cover the whole cost of our trash and recycling program. The city council is currently entertaining maybe increasing a certain amount, but not all the way. That's what they're discussing. They're meeting again
I mean,
Tuesday night.
decreasing, right?
Not a decrease, no. I mean, the fee has been $100 for about 20 years.
Yeah.
The
Well,
fee-
I mean, decreasing it from the 425, that's what
Maybe
I would-
decreasing, maybe raising it less than we're asking them
Okay.
to. Right, and so if they do, there'll be a gap in how we have to balance the budget as a result, and there'll be more work to do on that.
And the city council is meeting next, is it Monday or Tuesday?
Well, Tuesday because of the holiday.
Okay, that's right, Tuesday. And that will also include a public hearing at that one, I believe.
Ordinance changes do not require a public hearing. I think I heard the council president say they will make time and space for people to speak and share their thinking.
Okay.
And an ordinance change requires two separate votes. So they would have to take a vote next Tuesday night and follow it up with a vote at, I believe, the June 1st meeting of the council.
Yeah, and just as long as we're talking about that, some of the councilors expressed concern that they, because in your FY '27 budget, you're going to make some cuts in order to, okay. So
Sure.
they're saying, well, we don't know what that is because we don't see the budget, and how can we vote on this when we don't know what the mayor's, office is? But I think by law, June 1st is when you're supposed to present them with the budget, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the city ordinances define when, the timeframes for
Right.
submitting the budget. Now, my team and I met with every city councilor individually at length about the budget and about where we were at with the trash and recycling contract, although it was during the time when we were still negotiating with the potential vendors. So we've tried to update them, and, I've told them that we'll try to give them as much information as we can by Tuesday evening in terms of what attritions in jobs and some layoffs on the city side that are already planned to meet the budget, to make the budget balance with the proposed trash fee increase. If they do less, then there will be additional cuts needed to be made, and we're trying to work through, that in the meantime.
Right, yeah. And just, I don't want to get off topic here, but just for our viewers, by state law, cities must have a final budget approved by June 30th of each year, because the fiscal year begins on July 1st, right? That's, by law, you have to have that, okay.
So the plan is the whole month of July is dedicated to, we submit the proposed budget, the council will have a number of public hearings on the budget. And then they ultimately take their vote.
Month of June, you meant to say.
Month of June.
Yeah. Now, I guess maybe you've touched on this. Why not simply keep the current system in place? And that, why don't you comment on that?
Sure. I mean, if we didn't raise the fee that was set 20 years ago, if we don't raise the fee, there'll be about a $4 million gap in the budget between the revenues we bring in and the expenditures we need to make.
Right.
And I will say a couple of things. That there's kind of a mantra of, just cut on the city side, cut on the city side. But I'll say this. In 2003, state money to the city of Beverly, state aid, made up 24% of our operating budget. Today, state aid makes up 13%.
Right.
It's a result of the back-to-back recessions and the state cutting state aid by over $7 million during those recessions and not catching back up in the time since.
Yep.
So as a result, and with Proposition 2.5, and we've always lived within it, we've had to really scrimp and save and be tight about how we spend in order to try to fund all of our services across the city, services people count on and need. And so there aren't a lot of places to go within the city side of the budget. And as I said, we've got about 11 positions that are being either attrited, meaning when people left, we haven't filled them, they're going away. Or, as I said, for the first time, we're going to have to be doing a number of layoffs. If the council does not pass the proposed trash fee in its entirety, and I understand why they don't want to. I'm not happy to have proposed such a big increase. But if they do less, then we'll be looking, at needing to
More
do more,
cuts, yeah.
more cuts in personnel
Yeah.
on the city side. And the schools have, it's incredibly challenging to fund all our services. The schools have a proposed 5.27% increase in funding, but all the costs go up significantly year to year. Last year, the schools had a proposed, I think it was between 9 and 10% increase, which we ultimately passed. So we are doing everything we can to fund everything that people count on in this community. And raising the fees is really a necessary part of delivering on all of it. We'll see where it lands, and where it lands we'll work with.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned earlier that you had a few learnings from the bidding process about the new era of trash collection. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, what we did first was we asked every vendor, hauler, et cetera, who we knew that works in the region to come in and talk with us. And 6 did. The owner of 2 of the incinerators, Wynn, and 5 haulers. And we met with all of them extensively, about 2 hours each. And we had a whole, list of questions, and we had some great feedback and conversations with them. We let them all know we would be putting out a request for expressions of interest, another version of a request for proposal.
Sure.
That's a public bidding process. And ultimately, 2 of them did not respond to the RFEI. They weren't interested in working, with us. 3 did. Wynn did. Wynn only responded for buying our trash from us, so the disposal of our trash.
Yeah.
And they gave us the best price for disposal, so we went with them. So our contract is directly with the incinerator for disposing our trash.
Oh, okay.
For the collection of trash and recycling and the disposal or processing of recycling materials, as well as our bulk items, our white goods, our curbside leaf pickup, yard waste pickup, Christmas tree pickup, we went with Casella. We got responses. The RFEI was very extensive, and it had all kinds of different ways to, it was kind of you could kind of pick. We could ultimately pick different things from the responses. One of the respondents gave us a price for both automated and keeping the program the same. Rear loader, 3 people on a truck picking up the trash from the curb and putting it in. And unfortunately, that was way higher than the automated. And it's largely because of 3 people instead of 1 on a truck.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So that really was not competitive at all, and we had to leave that aside and decide, definitively we're going with automated.
Yeah.
So changes that people will see, and I don't like to say this, but this is the world of trash and recycling. The changes are that we have been able to put out, any one of us, a bulk item at our curb any given week, and it gets taken with the regular trash. Right. Without paying. Well, the city's been paying through the operating budget with our tax dollars for that. And that's going to prospectively, going forward, needs to be paid for by the person who's going to put the item
Chris,
on.
I think we have a slide on that. Chris, if you would, there we go.
Sure.
So,
And so, for some time, the white goods have been on a scheduled model, right? A monthly pickup. You reach out to the hauler, you register and a white good is refrigerator,
sure,
dishwasher, stove, washer, dryer.
Big stuff.
You put those out, but we haven't had to charge. Now there'll have to be a charge.
There'll be a charge.
So for both bulk and white goods, there's going to be a charge, and you just can't put it out any given week.
You've
You
got
have to schedule it with the hauler.
so that
You can call their call center. You can use the app, which I didn't think I'd want to download a waste and recycling app, but the way they described it, it's probably going to be worth doing if you work with apps, and then going on the website.
Yeah.
So those changes are happening. So it's true that we're going to get less and pay more. It's reality. And I don't like saying it. You live here, I live here. We're going to be paying those same fees, but that's a part of the the trash and recycling world. We also are going to be, because it's automated, every household that participates is going to get 1 cart for trash and 1 cart for recycling.
Right.
And that's a slide that
Yep.
that includes the proposed fees, and it shows the size of
the
carts.
barrels, yeah. And
so
Chris, if
it's
we
worth
could get
putting that up and
yeah.
leaving it up for a couple of minutes while we walk
why don't we
through
do
it.
that? Yeah.
I'll say to you, Walt, the default that we're going with for size of trash is 65 gallons.
Right.
Now, if you put out 2 full trash barrels today, that's 65 gallons. because they're 32s or 35s or whatever people have bought. So a 65-gallon cart for trash is the default.
Yep.
Means the proposed fee, wherever it lands, is on that size of a trash barrel. If you decide you don't need as big a one and you want to go down to a 35-gallon, I know plenty of people who put out one 13-gallon kitchen bag of trash in their trash barrel. You can go down to 35 and you'll pay a lower trash fee as a result.
Right. I think your proposal was $280 for that.
$425 and $280. As I said, they're considering something less.
Yeah,
but
right now.
But that's, you can see it on the screen. Now, we haven't offered for someone to go higher than 65 gallons, but we've heard a lot of concern, what if in a given week I can't fit it in the one cart?
Yeah.
I think by and large, if you can't fit it in the one cart in a given week, you try to hold it back and put it out the next week. But if people truly believe they need a bigger trash cart, we're going to offer a 95 for trash.
For trash.
It'll be a higher number than wherever the 65-gallon cart lands. And as I said, that's all in front of the council.
Yeah.
Over to recycling, the weekly pickup, it doesn't really show here, but the default on recycling is we're providing people a 95-gallon cart.
Right.
The biggest
It's
option
huge, yeah.
for recycling. If people are concerned they can't navigate that, and by the way, they're on display in Beverly City Hall in the city council chambers. People can come down and check them out anytime. They are actually very, they're easier to work with than you think, but, people may decide either it's too big to navigate or they don't have a place to keep it during the week.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have said that. They can opt down to a 65 for recycling or even a 35 for recycling.
Oh, really?
There's not a price differential on those.
Oh, okay.
Right? The only price differential is depending on what size of trash cart you use.
Yeah.
Because the biggest policy matter behind all this coming from the state level is the state's running out of landfill space. We don't use landfills. We intentionally go to the incinerator.
Incinerator, yeah.
Environmentally, we don't want the CO2 of burning the trash, but it's worse with food waste in the trash if it goes to a landfill and rots and gives off methane, which if you're not actively composting your food waste, that's what happens.
That's what happens.
And that's a very damaging greenhouse gas.
So what do you do with your old containers?
So we are going to have the hauler, and that's in the contract we negotiated, early in the new year. Not right away. We're going to need the containers right through June 30th. But once Casella starts, we'll announce a couple of weeks where they'll come by on your regular trash
When you
day.
say new year, you don't mean the calendar year, you mean the fiscal.
I'm
right?
sorry.
Yeah.
July 1st,
Yeah.
the new fiscal year. You're so right. Once Casella gets started, we will schedule 2 weeks where people can put out their old bins and old barrels if they're beat up, and Casella will pick them up, compact them, take them to the incinerator.
No, are they obligated to turn them in, or can people keep those old
People
bins
can keep them
if they need
if they
them
have
for
a place for
gardening,
them.
landscaping?
I have 2 barrels. One that, like any of us, right, I've been putting it out for years, and first the lid got destroyed by the guys tossing it back every week, and then the barrel, one wheel got knocked off, and I had it on one wheel, and then the other wheel got destroyed, so now it just slides, and that barrel's ready to get taken. So I'm going to put that out to get taken away. I got 2 of the small bluer bins. They're all beat up and broken up. And so, but I have one really nice barrel that feels destructible, and I'm going to use it for yard work.
Sure.
So
Now,
people can do that for sure.
some of the discussion on Monday's city council meeting revolved around, costs going up. There's a lot of cost pressure, groceries, gas, all this other stuff that's going up. What programs are available for people like seniors or people that? Tell us about that.
Sure, and there's a slide that shows that we have 2 ordinances, city ordinances. One that says if you believe that your income level is so low that you should get help, it's a hardship waiver.
Right, we have that up there.
You can apply for that. You can apply for that on the city website. You can call us and we can walk you through it. If you're eligible under the federal housing and urban development guidelines or measures, then you can get a waiver and not have to pay the trash fee. If you're a senior citizen, we have a separate program where you can get a discount if you're income eligible. Again, it's under federal housing and urban development income eligibility guidelines. So we can help you with that if you think you might qualify and you're concerned about whatever the increase ends up being in our trash fee.
Okay. And so, I mean, you've really explained how the decision was made to move towards a fully funded trash program. And you feel that for the future, that's where everything is going, and that would be the best solution for Beverly as well as for all the towns around us, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Fully funding the program with fees is, I think there's an argument to be made that that's the right way to do it. I think everybody's feeling a sticker shock of looking at the numbers, and that's why the conversation is what it is right now, and that's fine. I mean, we'll figure it out. It's a process, right?
Yeah.
And the council has that ultimate authority to, approve or deny it. So we're working together on that.
Yeah.
The other thing I do want to mention is there have been people pointing to the City Hall project and saying, don't do it. Use that money. Well, the city of Beverly started really working hard on our infrastructure. There was a window where it wasn't happening. In the mid-90s, we saw all these needs with our schools, and we built a new high school, and we put renovations and additions on 5 elementaries, and we built an elementary, and then we built a middle school. We built a new police station that was almost 100 years old. City Hall, and the financial piece of it is this. You need to hold a certain percentage of your operating budget to service debt. Right? It's like a household budget. Some of your money goes to pay your mortgage.
Sure.
If we let that, right now, the debt service line is 5% of our operating budget. A best practice suggests it should be 7 or 8%.
Yeah.
And ours was up there, 7, 8, 9% when we were doing the middle school. But it's come down with older debt coming off. A community really needs to take care of its capital assets. We have about 20 buildings. They need to be invested in, improved, repaired, at a certain point with some of them replaced. The City Hall was renovated in 1933-34 with a Great Depression Works Project Administration grant. City Hall has a essentially broken HVAC system on the 3rd floor. It can't handle air conditioning needs, and in the winter, doesn't really handle heating needs.
Yep.
1st and 2nd floor, the heating HVAC is at end of life, and there's never been an AC piece to it. I mean, we work throughout the year in that building. The electrical, the plumbing, the IT, there's literally no insulation in the building. We have departments that have been off campus. The health department is in the senior center and has been for decades. The senior population is the single biggest growing population anywhere. And the Council on Aging needs that space for seniors. We need the health department back in City Hall. The building department's been off campus for a number of years. They need to be back with the other departments.
And you're saying all this because now that was passed by the city council.
The project was passed.
It was passed.
And we're vacating the building this summer.
Right.
There have been people suggesting that the council should try to revisit that. It just, if that 5% of tax dollars that pay debt service were to start being used, like the 7% is now down to 5%, and that 2% of our revenues have gone to paying recurring expenses, the cost of employees largely, right? And once you start putting money into recurring expenses, it's really hard to think about taking it back for a capital need. And if we let that bleed away by not doing the City Hall project, which needs to happen on its own merits, if we let it bleed away, we'll lose the ability to address our capital needs, our buildings, without Proposition 2.5 overrides. Yeah. We've never gone to the community for a debt exclusion, which is a capital Prop 2 override to pay for a project. We've always done it within Proposition 2.5. Right. I just need to make that point because when people point to that, one, they try to claim that the work isn't needed, it's desperately needed. And two, they think that money can go somewhere else without negatively impacting all of us as taxpayers and residents in the future.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of, well, I won't make that comment, but I just thought it was sort of like a wild comment to make that, oh, why don't we do this? And if you really drill down into it, it's really not, not feasible. Now, you've been going out into the community, ward by ward, with this message. Now, how many more do you have to do?
I think we have 3 more scheduled.
Okay. You haven't come to Ward 6 yet, I know that. 'Cause
No,
I'm
4,
waiting.
5, and 6
Oh, I'm
are
waiting for
still
you.
on the schedule. Nothing this week, but the week's almost done. Those are on the website if anybody wants to check when the next 3 are.
Now, how critical is getting city council approval for this? Is it necessary? Is it?
Well, the trash contract's signed.
Yeah.
That's the executive's role and responsibility,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
will have the new trash program in place July 1. But how to pay for it is
Yeah,
what the proposed
that's
fee.
what we're-
As I said, if they go with the proposal that's been put on the table by some of the councilors, with a 300 default fee and less for a smaller, smaller trash container, that would leave us about $1.4 million in the hole. And so we're already working on being able to talk with the council Tuesday night about what that would look like if we had to go deeper with cuts. And I should say, because we haven't said it yet, the proposed fee, wherever the fee lands, is for the work itself, right? The carts that are needed for automated pickup, we have asked the council to use $1.6 million in cash reserves that the city has.
Right, to pay for
the carts.
Right.
So that's not rolled
that's
into
not
the
part of
fee.
it. No, okay.
Each customer will get one cart for trash and one for recycling.
Yeah. Now, we have a chart, a pie chart here that I think you wanted
our
to,
expenses.
to
Yeah, I just
talk
wanted to
to.
touch
Yeah,
on it,
so if Chris, so why don't you talk to that, Mike?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot that we could dive into on that, and maybe we will in another conversation. What I just want to point out is the trash fee today raises 1.2 million, but the cost is about 3.9. So there's about 2.6, 2.7 million that we are paying through the general fund, and that's found in, I think it's that blue slice in the upper left, like around 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. I guess it would be 11 a.m. or p.m. But that's the public works budget, and within there is that 2.6, 2.7 million.
Okay.
So I just want to point out, I mean, it's in our expenses. Most of our expense lines are not very flexible. We have to increase what we invest in our pension fund by 4.5% every year under state law. We have to raise our health care premiums to whatever the increases in the system require. And this year we're proposing a 9% increase. The salary lines are based mostly on contracts. Most of our employees are union. And so those are the biggest pieces of the pie in there every year.
Right.
But just to flag that, that 2.6, 2.7 million, it's in there. It's one of the few places that we can really look to try to meet our needs going from one year to the next.
Well, it'll be an interesting 3 or 4 weeks during June when all of the department heads come in and get their budgets approved.
People have been reaching out, and that's a part of the process. We're elected to represent people and try to do this work, to the best of our ability. So keep reaching out, show up, share, work with us.
Okay, and on that note, thank you.
Thank you all.
Mike,
Appreciate
thank
it
you,
very
Mr.
much.
Mayor. And I'd like to remind our viewers that you have been watching City Scene with Mayor Mike Cahill. I'm your host, Walt Kosmowski. Thank you for watching.